Welcome, beloved souls, back to another episode of the Reclamation. I'm Paula Collins, Magdalene priestess, intuitive sound healer, and spirituality mentor. And today we step into the radiant portal of Litha, also known as the Summer Solstice. This is a sacred turning point in the wheel of the year. It is the day of the longest amount of light and the shortest amount of night. It is a time when the sun is at its peak, the earth is in full bloom, and we're invited to honor the light around us, but also the light that is within us. So Litha, or the summer solstice, is one of the 8 Sabbats of the wheel of the year, and it is celebrated in the Northern Hemisphere on June 20th or 22nd, somewhere in that window. It marks the height of the sun's power. It is a time of vitality, abundance, and full expression. For our ancestors, this was a time to celebrate fertility, to celebrate growth, to celebrate protection, and to celebrate divine masculine energy. Bonfires were lit, herbs were harvested, and the sun was praised. It was a time for the people to gather together and to look at how far they had come into the year, to look at what the earth had set out before them, and to honor that time, to see how the plants that they may have sunk into the ground between the spring equinox and Bealtaina, to see how far they've come, to see what is growing, to see what is blooming, and to also glory in the fact that there was more light. And it reminded them, it was a reminder to them that this beautiful light was also something inside of them that deserved to be honored as well. And to look at the beautiful intentions that they had asked for, that they had offered up at the spring equinox or at Bealtaina, to think about them, to remember them, to reflect on them, and to see what had come to fruition, what was maybe in the process of it, and what they were still waiting for. And spiritually, Litha, or the summer solstice, is a mirror. It is a time for you to sit and reflect and ask yourself, where am I shining brightly in my life? Because so many times we don't allow our gifts, our intuition, our intelligence, our beauty, our desires, we don't allow them to shine. And maybe you made a promise to yourself at the beginning of this year that you were going to allow yourself to shine more brightly. So you reflect on that and you say, how have I allowed this to happen in my life? Where am I doing this? How have I changed? Another question you can ask yourself is, what in my life is ripe and ready to be harvested? Because sometimes we plant seeds and they rise up and they bloom, but we don't do anything with them. We don't use those intentions to their fullest capacity. We don't allow ourselves to shine to our fullest capacity. So we ask ourselves, what is ready for me to just let it burst forth? For me to begin harvesting so I can share it with other people. And so we look at that. Maybe we need to do a little more inner work. And we need to ask ourselves, where am I being invited to let go of something that is no longer serving me, that's no longer good for me? What am I holding on to? What habits or conditioned beliefs or patterns do I need to let go? Do I need to allow the beauty and the intensity of the sun to burn away? Because if we don't allow ourselves to release, then the light inside of us starts to wane, it starts to dim. So maybe we need to ask ourselves that question too. And take the time to really sit with it. Take the time to sit with intention, to do some breath work, maybe sit with sacred cacao, maybe we light a candle, maybe we pull some oracle cards. Or we sit in silence and we just allow our inner self, our wise inner self, to speak to us. And once these things rise to the surface, then we have decisions to make. Will I let myself shine more brightly? Or will I keep myself dim? Will I harvest what I have, the seeds that I have planted, and share them with the world? Or will I keep those hidden because I'm afraid of what people might say? Or will I allow myself to stay stuck in patterns with habits and things that don't serve me? Or will I call in some courage on this summer solstice? Will I call in some courage? And will I allow the sun to help me burn that away? So every Sabbath has themes, and the same is true with the summer solstice. So one of the themes of the solstice is illumination. And in theory, we understand illumination, right? Illumination is when we shed light on something, we allow the light to come through so we can see more clearly. So we ask ourselves, what has come into full view for me this year? Maybe you've noticed some things about yourself that you want to change, or maybe you've noticed some boundaries that you need to put in place, or maybe you've noticed that there are people in your life that just constantly pull you down and it's not helping you to rise up. Maybe you notice that some of the goals that you set for yourself, either at the beginning of the year or at the spring equinox, maybe you notice that you've become a little lax. And so it's a time to revisit. It's a time to allow the energy of the sun to illuminate different things in our lives. Another theme is power and passion. And I love this because we have an internal sun inside of us, right? Our solar plexus is our internal sun. It is the place, our place of power. It is our place of confidence and self-esteem and self-worth. And then there's passion. What are you passionate about? What in your life is rising up that you are so passionate about? And what have you done about it? Do you just think about it, daydream about it? Or are you being called to express this passion or this power within you more boldly? Are you being called to step outside of your comfort zone? Because It's not easy. Let's face it. There is nothing easy about stepping out of our comfort zone. Nobody knows that better than me. I am speaking from experience. But since I have taken the time to rediscover and reclaim who I am not afraid to visit things like my passions and to allow my power to rise up in me and to express these with more boldness. Because in the past I wouldn't have, and it wasn't always easy, but now I feel so good about being able to do it. Another theme of the solstice is fertility and creativity. And fertility is more than just, birthing babies or animals having their babies, right? Fertility is about what's blooming inside of you. Where are you bearing fruit? What dreams and desires are ready? Because you are fertile soil. When you have a dream and you allow yourself to plant that seed, and then you do things to help yourself grow, and you do things to see your dreams come to fruition, that is your own fertility. It is your creativity. And it gives you the opportunity to express. And maybe, as I just in the prior point talked about power and passion, maybe you are expressing your creativity more boldly. And then there's celebrating ourselves. How often do you celebrate you? How often do you celebrate the little things that happen in your life? A lot of times we celebrate the big things, right? Like Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, anniversaries, things like that. But what about the little things in your life? Do you celebrate the little wins? Do you celebrate the things that you have done to help yourself evolve, to help yourself change, to help yourself grow? Do you celebrate those? Because a celebration of self is a reclamation of joy. It's saying, I deserve more joy in my life. I deserve celebration in my life. And you can do these things on your own, or you can do it with friends, and you can have friends help you celebrate. Or what are you more deeply embodying in your life that you want to celebrate? Maybe you have made decisions that you want to embody more boundary setting in your life. I'll just say that because that's a huge thing for so many people that I work with and so many of my friends. And so you have started little by little to embody small boundaries. Celebrate it. Maybe you have embodied more of your spirituality. Not religion, but spirituality. Your connection to divine source. Whether you call divine source angels or God or Jesus or angels or divine feminine, divine masculine, universe, whatever it is you call it, maybe you've embodied more of that. Celebrate it. Maybe you have allowed your sensuality to come out more. Maybe you have enjoyed that. Maybe you have decided that being a sensual being is not a bad thing, that it is part of who you are, and you want to celebrate that. Do it. Sensuality is a gift. Sensuality is celebrating that deeply intimate part of you that is just screaming to get out. And having deep intimacy with ourselves, getting to know ourselves at a deeper level, in whatever way we do that, that is comfortable for us, paves the way for our sensuality to rise up and be celebrated. And another theme of the solstice is sacred balance, right? Knowing that the peak of the light, since we are at the longest day of sunlight, it's going to begin its descent into the shadow. And between the summer solstice by the fall equinox, we will once again have equal light and dark. So understanding that although we have this abundance, we are prosperous in light, we celebrate that, knowing that we'll have just a little bit less, and that is okay, because that's how it's meant to be. So you're probably wondering by this point, well, Paula, tell me what I can do to celebrate the summer solstice. And there are some beautiful ways to do that. You can start with a sunrise or a sunset ceremony. Wake up with the sun on the solstice. And as you watch it rise, if you wake up early enough so you can watch it rise, maybe you say to yourself, I honor the light within me and the light around me. And as you sit there, you watch it become fuller and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, and you breathe into it. You gaze at it and you give thanks. Or maybe you watch the sun set and you say, thank you for this beautiful day of extended sunlight. I honor that within me. And you breathe and you gaze and you give thanks. Maybe you create a beautiful altar, and I will be doing this myself for the summer solstice. You create a solar altar. And you use colors like gold and orange and yellow and maybe bright iridescent whites. You add candles to your altar in those colors. Maybe you have an altar cloth with those colors in it. Maybe you find crystals like citrine, sunstone, even carnelian, and you put that out. Maybe you adorn it with beautiful summer flowers from your very own garden. Things like sunflowers and roses, daisies, which are my favorite flower. Maybe you buy beautiful flowers and you grow them. And so you pick some of those impatiens or pansies or any of those beautiful flowers that you planted and you put them on your altar. Maybe you have a deity that is very special to you and you want to honor that deity during this time of the summer solstice. And so you have a picture of them, or maybe some little token that reminds you of them, and you put that on your altar. Maybe you write an intention and you say, I claim my light and I stand in my power. You write it down and you put that on your altar. And you leave that altar up. So every time you see it, every time you pass by it, you stop and you offer a prayer of gratitude. Maybe you'll have a fire ceremony. I love bonfires. If you can't make a bonfire, you can burn candles, right? And in the fire ceremony, you write down what you're releasing, because remember I talked about what habits or patterns or conditioned beliefs are you ready to release. You write it down and you burn it safely in a fire-safe container or in the bonfire. And you allow the fire to transmute what no longer serves you and to send back to you something that helps you walk in the light, something that helps you stand in your power. You can also do sacred movement, somatic movement. Maybe you dance under the sun or under the stars. You let your body move freely. You allow your breath and your heart and your hips and your solar plexus to move. And you feel that, and you feel the sun igniting those areas of your body, and you dance in gratitude, and this dance becomes this beautiful prayer, this beautiful offering of yourself. And this allows you to maybe call back some of the power that you may have lost or given away to somebody else unintentionally. And you call that power back, and you allow yourself to feel yourself calling that power back while you're dancing and twirling. It is an absolutely beautiful way to celebrate. Maybe you do a little anointing ritual for yourself. One of my other favorite things to do. And you can use use essential oils, pure essential oils, because they're safe. But you can use things like lemon and orange and frankincense or rosemary. You can use beautiful flower essences like rose or geranium, jasmine, right? And anoint yourself very ritualistically. Anointing your chakras. Maybe you concentrate on that solar plexus and you say, I trust my inner fire and I am guided by the light within me. And you sit in that ritual anointing. I also have a beautiful little prayer that you can say to the sun. Or actually not to the sun, because what's coming through is from the sun. So close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath in and receive this message. And this message to you from the sun is, I am not here to burn you, beloved. I am here to illuminate you. I am here to show you the brilliance of your soul. I am here to remind you that even in a world that feels so dark and full of shadows, that your inner radiance is eternal. Beloved, stand tall. And remember, you are the flame, not the ash. Breathe into that message. Feel it inside of you. Feel it in your solar plexus. Feel it in your heart. And know that you are love. And let this summer solstice be more than just a moment that you spend on June 20th, 21st, or 22nd. Let it be a portal to your next becoming. Let it be a place that is blooming so largely, so large in your life and in your presence, that you are excited to turn the page and see how the story develops. Remember, you are not too much. You are not too late. You are right on time. My prayer for you is that you burn with truth, you radiate joy, and you rise in your fullness. I want to thank you so much for joining me in this special edition about celebrating our summer solstice or Litha. I want to encourage you to really take some time for yourself during this portal and allow yourself to feel the beauty of all that it holds. If this resonated with you, please share it with a friend. Like it, subscribe, share it. And if you think that this will help somebody else, please share it with them as well. It's important that when we find things that help us, we share it with the collective, because as we share with the collective, we help other people to wake up and become more alive. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know in the comments what resonated with you, what you're taking away from this podcast, or maybe what you would like to hear more about. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now, with so much love.